Hello Mzansi, welcome to episode 398 of the Farmers Inside Track podcast. My name is Duncan Masiwa and I'm your host for this episode. Recently at the Mzansi Young Farmers Indaba, For Mzansi interviewed the team of Agri Skills Transfer who shared their highlights and key takeaways. In this episode, we explore the significance of agricultural education, key challenges and opportunities in the sector. Additionally, Shaun Welmans, Chief Operating Officer at Agri Skills Transfer, shares his aspirations for agricultural education, particularly within the current landscape of the industry. Let's hear what they had to say. I'm sitting with the amazing team of Agri Skills Transfer who have been exhibiting here for the past 3 days. It's been an event that has been packed with more than 1,300 farmers traveling from different corners of the country to come in here, what the opportunities are in agriculture, what it is that they need to know in terms of funding and access, and who are the faces behind some of the amazing food that we produce. And of course, a critical part to agriculture is agricultural education, and that is where Agri Skills Transfer comes in. Shaun, it is good to see you. It's been a while. How has your experience been here so far at the Indaba?
Duncan, thank you so much. It's good to connect again. I want to backtrack real quick from my first engagement with For Mzansi and the team on the initial Indaba that was hosted in Joburg at the hotel. I think it was Sky Hotel. My experience is, this is fantastic. I want to congratulate the For Mzansi team firstly on selling out, number one. Number two, changing the demographic physically from hotel to coming to the farms. That in itself is an achievement. But it also speaks on the ability of changing the demographic, which is your logo from what we've seen, the new face of agriculture. So well done to the team. And we support the initiative fully. My first engagement 2022, 2023, being involved on the Careers Fair, and on 2024, the Careers Fair together with Indaba. You guys are heading in the right direction, reaching the right crowd. And the end game being that in organized agriculture, we all have a role to play. And thank you for setting that platform for us as education providers, networking with different organizations in the industry where we all can add value and then cross-pollinate from and to one another. Extremely important what you've done in erecting and building organized agriculture. That's the one thing. And then the last thing, I can't wait to see where you are going in the future. It's initiatives like these that really tickle my heartstrings, if I can put it like that, in the sense that I realize we need to produce a lot more food in 2050. And this is where it's going to start, is getting these young farmers through the Indaba doors, getting them through training, getting them on the farms, and actually getting through the production, taking the hands of guys like land bank funders, getting the institutional knowledge, involving the ministerials, all of those kinds of networks. That's what's going to make it work, in my opinion. So a very good feedback. Thank you for the opportunity. Well done to you and the team.
It's definitely always great having Agri Skills on board and partnering with us. Khomolemo, we talk about the new face of agriculture, and a lot of that has to do with young people entering the sector. Why is agricultural education more important than ever before?
Thank you very much, Duncan, for the opportunity. Agricultural education is important in the sense that it sets a foundation for an individual, especially in the era that we are living in. We have a lot of students who are coming from backgrounds without an agricultural background. They are from families where they only live in town. So to give students the opportunity to see the practice itself in play and involving them in every step of the production, it gives them a better idea of what they have applied for. And applying that knowledge is also a process that we enjoy seeing those students go through. Because after 3 years of studying, people wonder, what am I going to do with the qualification? And I always say to people, it's not the qualification that makes the farmer, it's the farmer that makes the qualification. Because you can be a qualified farmer on paper, but not qualified to do the job itself. And seeing people through that journey, teaching them the basics, that's where Agri Skills thrives the most. We teach the basics so that you know from what point you will start from. The end, we can always get you there.
I love that. Lorica, I call you the glue of Agri Skills Transfer. Agri Skills Transfer made it possible for us to have help here on the Indaba with the students that you allowed us to use in the planning and also just assisting the exhibitors. How many students did we have helping us here?
Hi, Duncan. We had 55 students. There is no culture like agriculture. our students had to see where they can dream towards. They had to see other young farmers. They had to listen to presentations. They had to really see themselves in the shoes of a doctor at Agri Vet and said, you know what, I come from a rural area. I didn't even have straight maths. I didn't even have science. I had to start with a diploma course and take it from there and build my own career and make sure that, yes, it took me 10 years to become a vet. But once I was in the agri space, I knew this is where I want to be. And for our students to hear the narratives, to hear the stories, to hear other people who dreamt about a job. The woman from Standard Bank Agribusiness coming from deep rural Limpopo. I am now the head of agribusiness of one of the largest banks coming from deep rural Limpopo. I can't even recall the name of the township, but it's got dirt roads, she shared. Thank you that we could use our students to work for you. It may be mundane jobs that they did, but they rubbed shoulders and they stood on the shoulders of the giants in Agri. So thank you for that. And I am so looking forward to share the platform with you going into the next few months where we talk at career exhibitions, where we help one another. And when we turn 20 later this year, we've got our celebrations. The whole team of Food for Mzansi is invited. Thank you, Duncan.
Music to my ears. Sully, you've been with us the past 3 days. You've seen students coming in, you've seen farmers coming in, you've seen aspiring farmers come. What are some of the key things that stood out for you over the past 3 days?
All right, thank you very much, Duncan, for that. I'd firstly like to say that we are all locked up when we are in the farms. On the farm, you have your small house there, set with your small family and all the farm workers. You face the problems alone when you're on the farm. Getting out to the young farmers in Indaba and meeting other young farmers and aspiring farmers was actually interesting because we were able to share each other's battles and we were able to come up with solutions to those problems. So it was actually nice being in an environment where we had every young farmer aspiring and already in the field, already operating and sharing all our problems and coming up with solutions to those problems. So that's actually nice having everybody there sitting over a drink and understanding each other's problems, and that was absolutely great. It gave me a sense and feeling that we are not alone. There is people that are out there willing to regroup and share their ideas. So thank you very much for that, Duncan.
Thank you so much. Shaun, there's a lot that we can say about agricultural education in South Africa. But as the head of Agri Skills Transfer, what is your hope and vision for agricultural education in South Africa, especially considering the current landscape of our agriculture at the moment?
I believe that from agriculture comes good leadership. I believe this is something that we will need in our government moving forward. It is a bunch of people who have at heart doing things that are sustainable. And this is what we need. I also believe that technological advancement comes from agriculture. And I've seen this in this function again and at the Indaba again. So that's the other part of it. And then ultimately, when we can call ourselves organized agriculture, we have one goal in mind, and that is to leave this country better than the way we found it. And that is when we deal with people, with students, the same thing. And that is when we deal with education, the same. In that, as an organized part of this agricultural community, we build and thrive off one another to improve the education system, where we can collectively address social and economical issues that we are facing as a country and as a whole with leadership born from agriculture. That's what I see it coming to, and that's what we are working towards. So in a nutshell, I believe out of each and every person's mouth has stood out organized agriculture, being organized, joining in with Food for Mzansi, bringing the students in from the education part where Diesel deals with a lot of the guys day to day, Solid deals with them day to day. Everything leads up to that. Collectively, we can make that difference. Collectively, we can see food security happen. Collectively, we can see differences in employment and poverty. It starts with education as the first door, the first gateway. I always say this, by the time you finish matric, you've been through 12 teachers' hands. And that's the success of education. In agriculture, we try and mimic that same thing. The more people we can get into our students and our students into, the better the likelihood of successes will be.
Thanks so much, Shaun Welmans and the rest of hashtag Agri Skills Transfer. For more on this topic, visit www.foodformzansi.co.za For now, that's a wrap. Remember to subscribe to our podcast on your favorite platform so you never miss any of the episodes. From me, Duncan Masiwa, our technical producer, Megan van der Vent, and the rest of hashtag Team Food for Mzansi, thanks for listening.
Life in South Africa can be a lot. I mean, scroll through Twitter for a minute and tell me I'm wrong. Thank God for South Africans though, right? We're inspiring, and even on the bad days, we fight back with a smile. That's why I love Food for Mzansi so much. We're not ashamed to celebrate the ordinary unsung heroes who work every day to put food on our nation's tables. Go to foodformzansi.co.za and never miss an inspiring story.